Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you Tuesday, August the 25th. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. Secrets of old school trading, part 2. Just so you know, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Trading is extremely risky. You can lose all of your money. If you need trading, investment, or financial advice, seek the advice of an accredited financial professional. Old school trading. Once again, back in the 70s when I first started trading, there was no internet, there was no personal computers. It was just getting the value line charts once a week and drawing lines with the ruler. In fact, there was an article, something about all you need to trade is a ruler and a horizontal line. And that's why I say all you need to trade is a horizontal line. And in fact, that being said, I'm going to be taking part of the trading replay challenge over at the Trading Nut with Cam today. And it's going to be really interesting because one, he's going to be using a platform, or I'll be using a platform that I don't use. It's TradingView. I won't have any of my indicators at my disposal. So basically, I'm going to have to resort to old school trading. And the other thing that's really interesting is you only get one trade per chart. He's going to throw 5 different pairs at me, and he'll throw a chart, and then I'm going to have to put a trade on. And so what I was thinking about doing is telling Cam that I'll tell you what, I'm going to make it even more challenging for myself. That because I've done the buy zone, the rat zone, the wick zone, the pivot trading and the holo and 1, 2, 3, I was going to tell him, I'll tell you what, there's 5 pairs. I've got these 5 methods. And holo 1, 2, 3. Sometimes a holo is a 1, 2, 3, and sometimes a 1, 2, 3 is a holo. So they're kind of the same. That you can, I'll let him pick the method and the pair, and then that way, it'll really, put me on the spot. And so I kind of like that. So we'll see what happens if he'll do it. So anyway, we were looking at this simple chart here, and here's the pound dollar, and this is from yesterday. The same lines we had, and let's see if I put, let's see, go to properties, and if I go to periods, show the period separators. So this was yesterday, and here's today. And so you notice how this line that we had from yesterday, it was respected. Price came down here. Actually, it penetrated and came above. So what happened? It closed above this line, and then it took off. So it closed above this horizontal line. And when it comes to horizontal lines, price can close above. Actually, first it would have to cross above, and then it would have to close above. So in this particular case right here, you can see it came up, it crossed above, and it closed above the line. In this case, let me widen this so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm talking about here. Whoops, it just changed pairs on me. So right here, let's widen that one more time. Actually, this is the price line here, so that doesn't count. But right here, I was looking at that, but that's the price line. So, but even if this were a horizontal line that was static, you could see price cross below it and cross back above it. And actually, it was at 131.25, which is a psychological. So if I had the sweet spots set up, that line would be there. So it crossed below, but it didn't close below. So here you can see it crossed below, didn't close below, so it closed above, and from there price just went up. So that's one of the old school things to look at horizontal lines. So if you notice, in the TRO build 1200 zip file, or the mother load, whatever you want to call it. Um, and these are indicators I wrote a long time ago. There's TRO above below, and there's TRO X above, X below. X stands for cross. And you can put those indicators on your chart and you can see how many times price is um, crossed above or below a line or closed above or below a line. And that helps you sometimes in trading. But like I said, I'm not going to have any of these indicators available. I'm just going to have to drop a few horizontal lines on the chart and eyeball it. So for example, looking at the chart here, I can see right here, this was a highest open on that hour 1 hour ago, so call it 31.35. So if we were to drop down to say M5, and then we were to draw a line at what was it, 31.35 right here, you can see that right there we had an open above, and it was red at the line right there at 35, or in this case, a bear candle is black, but I call it red. And then price dropped, and you could have picked up 10 or more pips. It's, simple trades like that. And this other thing about this trading challenge is that, before you get in the trade, you're going to have to determine your take profit and where your stop loss is to see what happens. And then he's going to go bar by bar, one bar at a time across the chart. So it should be fun, interesting. It's funny because at first I wasn't going to do it, but then I said, what the heck, just for the fun of it. Not to mention, I sat in on a session last week, and the guys it's live, and then in the chat, some of these guys were just brutal. I mean, some of their comments were brutal, and so it's like, hey, you know what, I can take it. So if somebody wants to come and cheer me on, that's one thing. If somebody wants to come and hit me with both barrels, well, hey, that could be fun too. We'll just wait and see what happens. So, old school trading, horizontal lines, and in some cases, we can put up, I think we did it on the hourly, you can put up a trend line, but I usually don't do these trend lines anymore. I just like to look at the horizontal lines and trade accordingly. And so today, one of the things I had noticed, and I was trading, Walmart and I were on the phone, and where was it? It was right here. I think it was this hour right here. I had gone short at 30 because I was taking a Walmart trade. In fact, let's just switch over to this screen. I had gone short at 30 and the sucker ran all the way up, but I was trading light, and I joke with Walmart, and he can tell you that I say a lot of times, if I go to put a trade on, all I need to do is wait an hour. And we laugh at it because you see right here, I put the trade on here, it went way against me, but I was trading so light. I said, you know what? This thing's going to seesaw. And I'll tell you what that is in a minute. And then right here, I called him on the phone. I said, hey, you know what? If I would have just waited an hour, and you can see here, there was 10 pips to be had off of that trade. And what I mean by seesaw is a lot of times I found out that if price goes against you, if you wait, sometimes it'll go for you in the exact same amount that it went against you. So not all the time, but you could see here, if you were, say you went long here, it would have gone against you by what? Over 20 pips. But then you see here, it went your way. So that's something that it's not a method. You really have to pick your spots. You have to make sure your risk is such that that if I were to have stopped out here, it wouldn't have taken me out of the account or putting a big dent in the account. And you just have to be able to ride it. and there's a lot of different methods. Some people do martingales on those, but it's not necessary. And then once again, old school trading, just trading at horizontal lines. You guys see this chart almost every day. I bring it up, but right here, long at the 20, you'd be out at 30. There's 10 pips to be had, and I bet if Wall-Mall's trading, actually, maybe I should just call him. I'll talk to him maybe tomorrow or the next day. Um, find out if he took this trade. I bet he did because he usually takes these trades. He's an addict. He knows I tell him that all the time. But, with this old school trading, you can pick your time frame and normally I look for like monthly highs and lows, weekly highs and lows. And of course, a monthly high is going to be a weekly high on whichever week had the monthly high. It's just the way it works. So a lot of times when these traders talk about trading, different charts, I have to correct them because, right here, that was the monthly high from last month or not last month. What was that a monthly high from? Or a weekly high from last month? No, we're on the weekly chart. What was that? Oh, that was last year's high. Yeah. So that's something that you want to see. Hey, where's price in regards to last year's high? And I could put in last year's low. You could put that in down there. But we were closer to the high, so that's what I was looking at yesterday. And so this came in as the monthly high from this month that was put in a few days ago. And so once again, just picking out these horizontal lines and looking at the price action. So here, once again, you've got a cross above, cross below, close below, and you can see how price was oscillating. And then, for example, here we've got price had broke the previous day's high, a wick zone. It left the wick zone. And now price has dropped right back into the wick zone because look at the size of that wick. And if we were to go through the normal charts here, you can see here it broke out and we're still in the first day of the year's range, which, actually that was one of the trades I was going to think about telling Cam to do was the opening range for the month. I was thinking about just skipping ahead to the month and doing the opening range trade because it should be profitable. I mean, for example, if I were to say this trade, it's like, okay, I'll go short at the bottom and long at the top. So here, it would have been a chance to take profit, not much of one. Here, you could have taken profit. That would have been a nice profit. And see, it's really hard to trade in that type of environment because that's not how I trade on a daily basis. But like I said, I'm going to have fun and we'll see what happens. Um, and as we go through, we can see 115 pips below the yearly open. Once again, we broke out of those inside bar trades, and that's another trade I could, look for. And that might, that could be profitable. You can see here ranges over 100 for the pound dollar today. As I'm running out of time, you see we hit the pivot point, fade trade, rat zone. Red rats ate well today. Once again, we took out the daily pivot and we've taken out the weekly pivot. And I called that. See, we were out of the wick zone, back into it, dipped in here, came back out, and back to the simple horizontal lines. So, fellow traders, the thing about it is, I don't know what's going to happen when I enter a trade. That's why I have my stop loss in place, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks.